You know what? It could be a philosophical question, right? Like, no other choice. Is there no other choice? Are there choices in life? Or is the card you dealt with just so sucky? But anyway, let's see how many choices this guy gets. Yeah, that mic was really high, wasn't it? Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon, reviewing No Other Choice. What's up? Pretty simple premise. We have a guy that worked in the paper mills for about 25 years. He get axed with like a merger happening, and just the paper company is dying throughout South Korea. And you know, there is still one more out there that kind of has ties with Japan. And he looks at resumes and he realizes, you know what? He's probably number 3 if someone gets axed from that job. So he's got to figure out number 1 and number 2 what to do with them or how to get rid of this issue. And this is what this movie is about. I do find it very interesting that this is based in a paper mill because I used to live in Florida in Panama City, and there was a paper mill in Panama City if you didn't know about it. And after like 50 plus years, it shut down. And it's kind of crazy when you think about it, like with generational like family members that work there, like great grandfathers and grandfathers and fathers and sons used to work in this paper mill, and it kind of got cannexed. So you're just like, man, that's some crazy stuff happening, and it's different administrations that do this stuff. So you're just like, yeah, this is a true kind of story where it's like you're at a job for so long and you can't get axed. That's just, and you know, people are saying, oh, Doge and everything. It's like, no, that's in the private and public sector. No one is safe when it comes to some jobs and H-1B visas and things like that. And that's worse about it. But anyway, this is about what is this man going to do about it. And this is Park Chan-wook's latest film. I swear to God, if I said that wrong, just punch me in the dick. But he's done this, Old Boy, Decision to Leave, Lady Vengeance is another one he's done, and others out there. And when thinking about the style of Decision to Leave and this one, I do think I like the style of Decision to Leave better with some of the transitions, and just some things about Decision to Leave have stuck with me with how it was filmed, and just the transitions for that one was like tenfold. That doesn't mean this has great transitions, especially with a bonfire, the glasses with whiskey and beer and like great things like that, right? And there's another one with wires. That's all I'm gonna say. Another great shot with wires. You're just like, oh my god, there's some creepy ass stuff going on in this movie. So I did love the look of this film, the transition, and the editing. Like, but I am worried that this won't get an editing nomination when Decision to Leave didn't. But like I said, I think this deserves it for sure. The actor, you know him from probably Squid Games. I mean, if you actually know him from other stuff, he's been in a lot of other stuff like JSA. It's another Korean movie that I think I actually own as well, and other movies like that. He's in a lot of other stuff. He does a fantastic job. The family members do a good job. The overall family dynamic is absolutely fantastic in this movie. This is a 2-hour and 20-minute movie, and that could be an issue for some. It was for me for the first about 30 minutes, right? Because a lot of stuff is happening in 30 minutes, and when you watch the trailer, you expect it to be a little bit more fast-paced and not methodical, like this methodical. But when you rewatch like Old Boy and things like that, I don't know what I was thinking. Honestly, just me being a little bit pea-brained and thinking it might be a little bit more fast-paced. It isn't. But when the specific scene happens with very loud music, the movie does speed up tenfold. But getting there does take a little bit of time, and you're just like, okay, I understand the dynamics where you want to like add layers after layers after layers of like, making a methodical thing of like, what is his mission, what is he willing to do, and things like that. So I do understand that. However, I did feel a lot of people in the theater were a little bit antsy as well, but that's just what I did notice in this theater, right? So when going into this movie, I wanted to love this one. I wanted to love it, give it a 5 out of 5. Because I've only given 2 5 out of 5 this year. Presence, as well as The Lost Bus. Those two have been 5 out of 5 for me. This one isn't at that level. Like I said, just because like getting to the actual story did feel like it took a little bit too long. But when it got to that one specific scene on, it was like full-fledged, fun, zany craziness occurring. But I say that, but it really isn't that crazy when you think about it, because when you read the reviews, people are like, it's off the wall, it's bonkers, it's crazy. Yeah, you could say it's zany in some scenes. Yeah, you could say it's crazy in some scenes and funny in some scenes and grotesque in other scenes. Absolutely. But it's not overbearing, right? It is a very smooth ride when dealing with these themes because you don't want to make it too far fetched where you don't feel like you're not in this world anymore or actually in South Korea dealing with him and his family's issue. So if you made it way too far fetched and too unbelievable, that's where the movie could falter. But at a point, I was expecting it to go that route, but it really didn't. But that's just like I said, when people have their own personal biases or personal expectations, that was one of mine. It failed me, but that does not mean it's a bad movie. But like I said, the score is popping. The transitions, the editing, the cinematography, the production design is absolutely tenfold in this movie. How each environment is different when dealing with each character, especially a heart-wrenching one with like a shoe guy with his daughter, as well as this one guy who's like struggling with his wife and things like that. So there are different dynamics as well where you're just like, ugh. And the very end does deal with AI and robotics and where the world is going. And that does kind of scare me a little bit because when I probably transition to a new job in 6-7 years, I'm going to be like, oh, is my job safe? Is it? I don't know. So it does make you wonder where the world is going to go. Like, are they going to make 10 jobs into one? When I look at Amazon, where they're like, oh, we're going to hire like 800,000 people. And then they realize, wait a minute, AI is coming wrong. So we're getting rid of that. But we're actually not hiring those people anymore. We're actually getting rid of 30,000. But of course, it's also like, is it trimming the fat? Because when you do look at some of these TikToks, though, right, are federal workers, some of them are pretty damn lazy, which you're like, oh, I work at TikTok or Microsoft, and I get in at 9 o'clock. I get some kamachi, moochi tea. Then I take a nap in my Google Pod, and then I do a meeting at 11 o'clock. Then I get my free brunch with the salad, a Caesar salad with a blue cheese. And then they have another ping pong at 1 o'clock, then another meeting at 3, and they go home at 5. You're like, yeah, there's a reason why you're getting axed. This isn't that, because this is actually a guy that works hard in a plant that deals with, taking trees and making them into paper. And they do have a kind of I want to say a metaphor, but something at the end about paper and trees. But at a point, you're like, I mean, it's kind of been like that for ages. What do you expect? I know we're going to go digital now, but when you think about it now, right, the environmental impact of AI and all the power versus trees. You could replant trees, but all this stuff happening with like Bill Gates saying it's not a climate thing anymore. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't be a hypocrite. Anyway, overall, no other choice. It's a fascinating film. I really liked it. I wanted to love it. Yes, it's technically sound. It's, crafted with very little editing issues with this movie, and attention to detail is absolutely tenfold. However, I don't know if I was expecting more because I remember watching Decision to Leave. I remember watching Old Boy and all these other ones, and I just got like amazing grasp with those movies. This one, I know what I'm going to give it right now, but I would do a rewatch, and it might go up and down with that movie. But right now, no other choice. It's a great film. I wanted it to be a perfect film, but I think you will like it if you like his filmographies. I always say that word wrong. So No Other Choice will receive a 4 out of 5 with Futon, which equals that's 80%. Let's see what the critics news scores gave this one. Critics a 100% with 89 of them. Holy crap. Nothing for the audience score. Critic consensus. Director with precision by Park Chan-wook. No Other Choice is wickedly clever takedown of the corporate rat race that finds a perfect avatar in Lee Byung-hun's successful hapless performance. I wish I could see like the consensus, but like when you look at the critics, you have a couple 5 out of 5s, a B plus, a 3.5 out of 4. So it's not like people are calling it a perfect film, but people are really liking it overall. Like a 7 out of 10, a 4 out of 5, a 4 out of 5, a 4 out of 5, a 10 out of 10, a 5 out of 5, a B plus, 4.5 out of 5, 4 out of 5. So it seems like more people are at the 80% like I am. But hey, 80-100. Chase out here, the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One of those Futontopia. Yeah, Blue Futoni. Saying watch a great day. I can watch this day tomorrow, week from with a year from now. I'll just go freak one of you. Peace, love, and stay safe out there in that crazy, crazy job market.